Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as if someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. Only this and nothing more. Distinctly I remember, it was a bleak December, and separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow, vainly I sought to borrow from my book's sure cease of sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden from whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here forevermore. In the silken sad uncertain rustling a purple curtain filled me with fantastic terrors never felt before. So that now, to the still beating of my heart, I stood repeating, "'Tis some visitor," I entreating entrance at my chamber door. "'Tis some late visitor," entreating entrance at my chamber door. That it is, and nothing more. Presently, my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," I said, "or madam, truly you forgiveness I implore. But the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, so faintly you came tapping on my chamber door, that I scarce was sure I heard you. Here I opened the door wide, opened wide the door, darkness there, and nothing more. Deep into the darkness peering, long stood I there wandering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever should dared to dream before. But the silence was unbroken, and the darkness gave no token, and there was the only word there spoken was the whispered word, Lenore. This I whispered, and echo murmured back the word, Lenore. Merely this and nothing more. Back into the chamber, turning, all my soul within me burning. Soon again I heard a tapping, someone louder than before. "Surely," I said, "surely that is something at my window lattice. Let me see then, what thread is in this mystery to explore. Let my heart be still a moment. In this mystery explore. 'Tis the wind and nothing more." Here I here I flung the shutter, when with many a flutter, and there stepped a stately raven of the saintly days of yore. Not least obedience made he, not a moment stopped or stayed he, but with mine of lore or lady perched upon my chamber door, above my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then this ebony bird, beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, but by the grave stern decorum of the countenance it wore, "Let the crest be shorn and shaven, thou," I said, "art sure no craven. Tell me why the lordly name is on the night's Plutonian shore." Quoth the raven, "Nevermore." Much I marveled this ungainly fowl to hear discourse so plainly, though its answer little meaning, little relevancy bore. For we cannot help agreeing that no living human being even yet was blessed with seeing bird above his chamber door, bird or beast upon the sculptured bust above his chamber door, but such name as Nevermore. But the raven, sitting lonely and the placid bust, spoke only that one word, as if his soul in that one word he did outpour, nothing farther than he uttered, not a feather than he fluttered, till as scarcely more than muttered, other friends have flown before, and the morrow he will leave me, as my hopes have flown before. Then the bird said, Nevermore! Startled at the stillness broken up by replies so aptly spoken, doubtless, said I, what it utters is only stock and store, caught from some unhappy master, for some whom unmerciful disaster followed fast and followed faster, till the songs one bird bore, till the dirges of his hope, that melancholy burden bore, of nevermore. But the raven still beguiling my sad fancy into smiling, straight I wheeled a cushioned seat in front of bird, and busting door. Then upon the velvet sinking, I betook myself into linking fancy unto fancy, thinking what this ominous bird of yore, what this grim, ungainly, ghast, gaunt, and ominous bird of yore meant in the croaking, Nevermore! This I sat engaged in guessing, but no syllable expressing, till the fowl whose fiery eyes now burnt into my bosom's core. This and more I sat divining, with my head at ease reclining, on the cushion's velvet lining, that the lamplight gloated o'er, but whose velvet violet lining, with the lamplight gloating o'er, she shall press, nevermore. Then met thou, the air grew denser, perfumed from the unseen censer, swung by seraphim, whose footfalls tinkled on the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God hath lent thee, by these angels he hath sent thee, respite my nepenthe, from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh quaff, this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore! Prophet, I said, evil of the thing of evil, prophet still, bird or devil, whose tempter sent, or whether tempest tossed thee here ashore, desolate, yet all undaunted, on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted. Tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, I said, thing of evil, prophet still, with bird or devil, by that heaven that bends above us, by thy God we above adore. Tell this soul with sorrow baden laden, if, with a distant Aden, it shall clasp a sainted maiden, from whom the angel's name Lenore, clasp a rare and radiant maiden, whom the angels name Lenore. Quoth the raven, Nevermore! Be that word or sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked, upstarting, get thee back into the tempest, in the night of Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of that lie thou so hast spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit the bust above my door. Take thy beak out of my heart, and take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, Nevermore. And the raven, still sitting, still as sitting on the pallid bust of palace just above my door, and his eyes have laid all the seeming of demons that is dreaming. And the lamplight over him, streaming, throws his shadow on the floor, and the soul from that shadow, that lies floating on the floor, shall be lifted nevermore.